radar was employed in an attempt to determine the nature of the discovery. After reviewing the data, Israeli archaeologist Yehiel Zellinger called for extensive excavation, the removal of tons of material, a seemingly insurmountable task given the time constraints of the workers. How could so much material be moved in such a short period of time? Richard and the Wyatt team went to work. A ramp system was devised which would make it possible to transport stone, soil, and debris from the excavation site to wheelbarrows below, a system which would prove to greatly accelerate the dig. In an unprecedented effort, tons of material were removed in record time, only to confirm that what had been revealed was indeed a foundation and not the top of another wall. A determination that offered little encouragement for the exhausted excavation team. After the wall's foundations had been carefully and painstakingly cleaned, engineers from the Israel Antiquities Authority were brought in to analyze the situation. Their conclusion cast serious doubt upon further excavation. The wall was in danger of collapse. The question arose, was this the end, or was there any possible solution? Excavation team members brought with them a wide range of talents: businessmen, medical doctors and nurses, those involved in the field of science, and those having expertise in the field of construction and construction materials. Among them, Wayne Ferris, a businessman from Atlanta, Georgia. As if by divine appointment, it was no coincidence that Wayne owned one of the nation's largest firms involved with foundation support.
All right, what we're looking at is a planned view of the excavated area as of today. And what we have here, this is a view straight down on the wall and the footing that is underneath the wall. The concern that we have is we need to shore up to protect the foundation that's there, because it's a rock footing, it appears to be. In some areas we were able to get a probe 6 feet back in there, whereas further back in this area we were only able to drive it about 18 inches. So what we need to do tomorrow morning is meet with the engineer and present him with our design to see if he wants to modify it.
The next morning, preliminary plans were presented to engineers, and a concerted effort was launched to devise a method of shoring that would not only support the compromised wall, but which would provide for a means of safety excavating under it. A special meeting was called at Rockefeller Museum, home of the Israel Antiquities Authority. And after hours of extensive discussion and scientific calculation, a shoring system was agreed upon which would allow the work to continue. But was there time to implement the plan within the allotted excavation schedule?
We do indicate that there was a void here that's been filled with material. We found a wall with a foundation under it. This is exciting because nobody knew this foundation was there. The question was, did the wall go all the way down? And now we think that it does not. So what we've had to do, we've worked with the engineers from the Israel Antiquities Authority, along with Wayne Ferris of Atlas Piers of Atlanta, and we've designed a shoring system so we can go in under the wall now. It could be dangerous without the shoring. We're going to brace the wall up and make sure we've got everything right. And then we hope to go about 3 meters under this wall, and are very excited about what we believe to be on the other side.
While the excavation team made preparation, the search for wooden shoring material was underway. An expensive and not so simple task in Jerusalem, a city of predominantly stone construction. After visits to multiple suppliers, the materials were finally secured, and within hours of delivery, the first shoring frame was ready to be placed.
All right, let's drop a frame in here.
We can move it. Heads up. Here it comes.
Okay. All right, that's the top, so we got a roll.
That's the top. Right now, slide it out a little
Slide
bit.
it in and just drop it.
Don't land right. Don't land right.
Somebody help Wayne. Hey,
Look out, here it comes.
somebody help Wayne.
Come on.
In front of the subterranean wall, a shelter was built, from which the excavation could safely continue under its foundation. One by one, team members positioned the shoring frames, while at the same time, using backfill and sandbags, others carefully braced the wall, which precariously loomed above their heads. Aware of impending danger, every ear listened for any warning sound which the wall might offer. At last, having resecured the walls, the work could proceed. Following the pathway of material that had been seen on radar, a tunnel was constructed under the foundation of the ancient wall. A pathway consisting first of loose stone and then soft soil, both containing fragments of pottery. Definitely an area that had been filled in at some time in the past.
You can see the layers.
Yeah, there's pottery over here. Oops, excuse me.
Once again, safety concerns became a factor. It was determined by the engineers assigned to the project that once the excavation extended past the wall's foundation, which now served as a ceiling, the tremendous weight of the loose material above could collapse in on the excavations, a potentially deadly scenario. But just how much material rested above? Just how dangerous was it? In an effort to make an accurate determination, a survey crew was called in. Their task, to calculate the exact position and elevation of the Wyatt excavation in relationship to the ancient walls of Suleiman and the old city of Jerusalem, which lay above. Once a benchmark was located outside the northern wall of Jerusalem, it was only a matter of time before the truth would be known. As the position of the city above was superimposed on the excavation map, a startling discovery was made. To everyone's amazement, not only was the excavation about to extend beyond the wall below, but beyond the towering outer walls of Jerusalem. As the survey continued, it was soon determined that more than 10 meters, some 40 feet of material, lay above the heads of the workers, a fact unacceptable by all engineering standards.
We are 10 meters below.
With the excavation schedule nearing its end, a decision had to be made.
If we go to metal, if we go to steel.
It was agreed by all parties that the site must be secured.
Ron had described a passageway which he believed that Jeremiah used to transport the Ark of the Covenant to a place of safety during the Babylonian siege. After weeks of extremely hard work in Zedekiah's cave, it must be stated that the results of our investigations were inconclusive. It is commonly thought by archaeologists that at one time King Solomon's quarries extended further north to the area known as Jeremiah's Grotto. As those underground quarries consist of numerous passageways leading in every direction, we had hoped that the material we had seen on subsurface radar would be confined to one of those passageways. Once we had excavated under the northern walls of Jerusalem, the loose fill turned to soil, leaving us no clue as to direction. We just opened the dig in Jerusalem in Zedekiah's cave for King Solomon's quarries. We closed it last July when we found we were about 10 meters underground. We were concerned about the shoring. We've gone back and done the engineering work on the shoring. That's all been approved, and so we just opened the dig. And what we're doing is boring 2.5-inch boreholes about 20 feet deep in various directions on different angles. And we have infrared cameras so we can insert in those boreholes to try to get a better idea about which direction we actually need to be going.
After reopening the excavation and addressing all safety concerns, the drilling was accomplished by way of a handheld rotary drill with 2.5-inch augers attached. Additional 36-inch sections being added as needed.
We're backed out even more and it's still binding. So it's falling in on you maybe.
That one rock, it was one rock that was just causing us.
Well, when I was turning this free a minute ago, so it would break free and then it would still bind again with the piping.
Multiple holes extending some 20 feet in every direction were evaluated by way of miniature cameras. Upon examination of each borehole, no variation in the material was detected, and once again, the door was closed in anticipation of future investigation.